So the Russian president just said that the outlines of the peace plan discussed by the U.S. and Ukraine could be the basis for future agreements to end the war. Vladimir Putin said the plan addresses Moscow's positions on the conflict, but there still needs to be more discussion. Negotiations between Kyiv, the EU, and Washington on President Trump's 28-point peace plan have been ongoing. The latest draft has been passed to the Kremlin.
We had a discussion with American negotiators. After that, a list of potential agreements consisting of 28 points was drawn up. As I have already stated publicly, this document was delivered to us through specific channels. Then negotiations took place in Geneva between the American and Ukrainian delegations, during which the parties agreed to divide these 28 points into 4 separate components. Overall, we agreed that this plan can be used as a basis for future agreements.
So Rory Challands is standing by in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, and Al Jazeera's Yulia Shapovalova is in Moscow. That's where we're going to start. Yulia, what stands out to you in what the Russian president said?
Well, as we understand, Russia actually agrees that the initial U.S. peace plan, which consisted of 28 points for Ukraine, can be the basis for future agreements. That's according to Vladimir Putin. But he called amendments to the draft made by Ukraine's EU and UK partners to be unacceptable to Russia. So their draft excludes points from about reduction of the Ukrainian armed forces and the use of frozen Russian assets to restore Ukraine after the war. And well, actually, he confirmed that American negotiators, U.S. negotiators, led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, are arriving in Moscow in the first half of next week. And also, Hungarian President Viktor Orban is also coming over soon for talks with President Putin. But he still considers signing documents with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy pointless because there have been no elections in Ukraine for quite a long time. And according to Putin, this is practically impossible from the legal point of view. That's according to his perspective. So probably that will be a major obstacle in concluding this special military operation, as it's called in Russia.
Okay. So if we take a step back, does it sound like Putin is getting any closer to a peace deal or an agreement on terms of a peace deal with Ukraine right now?
Well, recently he spoke about the ceasefire in Ukraine. He has said that Russia is receiving proposals for a ceasefire. According to Putin, if the Ukrainian troops withdraw from disputed territories, if they leave the territories they actually occupy, according to Putin, then the hostilities will cease. If they do not withdraw, Russia will achieve its goals by military means. And he once again spoke about positive dynamics on the battlefield. So at the same time, he blamed European politicians for scaring their population by telling them that Russia is preparing to attack Europe. So Putin has said that Russia is ready to put on paper that it has no aggressive plans towards Europe, but it's willing to continue military actions if its goals are not respected, if Russia is ready to achieve its goals on the battlefield in Ukraine.
Yulia Shapovalova reporting from Moscow. Thank you very much, Yulia. Let's go to Kyiv. Rory Challands is standing by there. Rory, a similar question to you, really. When you listen to what the Russian president said, and you listening to this from Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital, does it sound to you like Ukrainian and Russian positions are any closer now than they have been in the past?
Well, look, the Ukrainians have been studiously quiet for the last couple of days. They are really waiting for the next bout of diplomacy to happen. You've got Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy, about to head to Moscow. The Kremlin says that's going to be next week. You've got Dan Driscoll, the US Army chief. He is supposed to be meeting with the Ukrainians over the next few days or so, perhaps by the end of this week. But the Ukrainians, I think, are broadly happy with how the plan is looking to them at the moment. Remember that at the end of last weekend, there was that flurry of meetings in Geneva, headed by Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, from the White House side of things, and the Ukrainians went there as well. And they hashed out revisions to that 28-point plan. And Ukraine, I think, feels that it has swung that plan into something that looks much more like what it wants to see. We don't know the details really, but the bits that have been leaked or come out or been reported suggest that the Ukrainians have managed to take out any amnesty for Russians for any alleged war crimes. The supposed cap on the Ukrainian armed forces has been raised from about 600,000 to 800,000. That's way in excess of what many people think that Ukraine could actually support financially in peacetime anyway. So it seems that the Ukrainians are pretty happy. Of course, what they want to do is to have President Zelenskyy go to Washington, D.C. to hammer out the finer, much more politically sensitive last points face-to-face with Donald Trump. But Trump is not biting on that at the moment. He's saying, I look forward to hopefully meeting with President Zelenskyy and President Putin soon, but only when the deal to end this war is final or in its final stages. So what the Ukrainians have done really is they've bought some time. They've headed off a blow-up with Donald Trump once again, and they've avoided being forced into a humiliating capitulation for now. And really, I think we're in something of a holding pattern.
Rory Challands reporting from Kyiv there. Thank you very much, Rory.
Don't miss out the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.